Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Midlife Crisis with your hosts,
Ashley
and Tracy. Pull up a chair for your seat at the table as we talk about journey through midlife. We have a special guest today, Belinda with Soul Treader. Did I say that right? Treader?
Soul Treader, yes. We're so excited to have you here.
Welcome, Belinda.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Ashley and Tracy. This is wonderful to be on your show. I love your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. And for everyone, all of our listeners out there, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right. Okay. So I'm Australian and I'm here in the USA right now today in 4th of July. This has been recorded on 4th of July.
Yeah. Happy Independence Day.
Happy 4th of July, by the way.
Yes.
So my work is in my real job is actually in the USA. My customer base is here. So I base myself anywhere on this continent or the continent south of us in South America or Central America. So I could be on this time zone. I can actually be on the European time zone as well, but it makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
The Australian time zone, no. I was getting up at 2 a.m. just to have a midday meeting on the eastern coast. So that wasn't working. And I've also, a few years ago, I started multi-day hiking. This is something which has basically transformed my life, and now I am taking this through into my latter years, my golden years, and hopefully something that I can retire with and keep mobile and active and adventurous. I still want to be hiking when I'm 80.
Wow.
So, I still want to be, and it is possible because I've seen those people on the trail. So and they're just as fit as I am.
Wow. So are you currently in the Pacific Northwest region of the United States?
That's correct. I'm in Seattle. So and honestly, Washington State, this is the first time I've actually spent time in Washington State. I've been here for a trade show before, and with trade shows, you sort of, stay in a nice hotel and then go to the trade show and come back and collapse on your bed, or, drink wine at dinner time and then collapse on your bed or whatever. And honestly, I have seen some of the most beautiful things here. The North Cascades. I went to the North Cascades last weekend. I dropped a friend off who was starting the PCT, the Pacific Crest Trail, from the northern terminus. So I went up there, and honestly, it was just stunning, absolutely stunning.
Yeah. Beautiful country.
Yes. Seattle is absolutely beautiful. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're able to hike all year long in Seattle, correct? Pretty much?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. I mean, obviously there's, some places where you're not going to be able to, but it's quite a diverse state. I mean, you've got this beautiful rainforest, you've got this, the Olympia National Park, then you've got, you've got the beach area. It really is. It's absolutely amazing.
And all the islands as well. There's, a ton of islands, right, that you could go to as well. I'm not sure how well those would work out for hiking specifically, but I think just for, a day trip, if you will, and maybe, again, like you said, maybe hike around the beaches, that would be amazing.
Yeah. No, they really are. I mean, they're just, it really is just beautiful. I mean, I've spent quite some time on some of the islands, Vashon Island, and what was the other island that I went to, where Bainbridge is, and it's just beautiful. It really is beautiful, and it's very serene, and so I was absolutely amazed.
So are you just
absolutely amazed? But
are you just visiting there for hiking, or where are you actually based?
Well, I've just been in Vancouver because I've got a son who's doing the ski season in Whistler, and I had a daughter doing the ski season in Vernon. All the ski resorts up in Canada are just filled with Australians.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So it's kind of like a bit of a rite of passage, they come over there. They get the 2-year working visa, so that was really good. And then I needed to be in the States. I had a couple of meetings down here, so I based myself in Seattle until I leave in about 10 days and go to Europe for the hiking season.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah. Now, if I'm correct, you have 3 children, and you pretty much raised them as a single mom for the majority of the time. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or for a good bit of the time?
For about 12 years. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
So, so basically, when my ex-husband and I separated, I sort of made a pact with myself that I wasn't going to bring in another man into the house, unless it was someone who was very special and a really good father role model. And I didn't quite find that, so I kind of did it on my own, and then but don't get me wrong, I still had female fun on.
Of course.
Takes a village.
Both of us have 3 children, and we, for the most part, since our divorces, also were single moms as well, which is why I brought that up. Yeah, because we have that in common, I think.
And we have a great group of friends that, they've all been very helpful.
Supportive.
In doing that.
Yeah, so we have our tribe, right? And they always say it takes a village to raise children. So we were each other's, village. And, so I thought that was awesome when I read that about you on your website, which is tolltrader.com, and we'll put all of that in the description of our podcast as well.
And the other thing is that I've got such a good relationship with my kids now. They've all left school, so I couldn't actually leave Australia and come out to America until they'd all left school and they were at a stage where I could actually leave them. And what I said to them is, I need to base myself in the Northern Hemisphere for a couple of years. I will fly you to wherever I am, and we will have 1-on-1 or 2-on-1. We will have that concentrated time together where we can eat, we can
catch up and
play. I mean, if I go home and go back into my apartment or wherever I go, my kids are still going to have part-time jobs, they're still going to have friends, they're still going to have uni, and I would probably see them for about a tenth of the time I would if we were all together. So that's worked out really well. But I also have I have well-travelled kids as well. So my middle daughter was actually doing an exchange in Exeter University in London, and that's why I was in the UK for some time.
Wow.
So it's working out well. Yes, I do miss them like crazy, but we talk a lot. And someone asked me the other day, what do your children think about what you do? And they're my greatest fans. They
I'm sure.
I launched a book the other day, and they're all, "Mom, I'm so proud of you, Mom." And I'm just like,
that's awesome. Now, what's the name of the book that you just launched? Because we'll have to get it.
Okay, so it's called Hike It Right, and it's health, safety and hygiene on the trail, but it is so informative, and it's you can find out all bits and pieces. Some people have done blog posts on hygiene, some there's books on safety, but there's a little bit of on health, but I go into all 3 pillars, and I also tell the why. So we all know that when we go on a walk outside that we're supposed to drink lots of water and wear a hat, okay? And we're all told that so we don't dehydrate and get sunburned.
Yes,
okay?
we're very familiar with that out here in the desert. Yes.
Yeah. But I go into what actually happens to your body when you dehydrate, and how that affects your performance on the trail, what that actually does to your body. And then I also go into, when it comes to wearing a hat, and this is just in the health section.
Right.
Wow.
And then I go into, well, okay, why do we wear a hat? Well, of course we wear a hat, to hold up the brim so we can, have some shade over our faces. But did you know that because of the lack of fat and muscle in our skull, it is so easy for our heads to allow heat inside our body and for us to overheat, and that's when we get heat exhaustion and potentially fatal heat stroke. So there's all sorts of things like this, and then I go into okay, well, why do we wear a beanie? Why do we put a beanie on? And there was a 1950s military test done years and years ago, and they basically said that you lose 10% or 40% or something heat from your head. Well, that's actually now been debunked. But again, because of the lack of fat and muscle in our skull, and the fact that our head can't shiver, so it can't keep us warm, that's why wearing a beanie when you stop exerting yourself is so important. I then go into electrolytes, and I say, well, why each component of those cute sports drinks that you drink, why each thing, item, the potassium, the magnesium, and the sodium, why that, what they actually do. And you go, okay, I see how important it is now. So,
do you recommend in your book, do you recommend a particular sports drink over another? Because I know that some of them have a lot of sugar and different things that may not be as good for you as you think that they are just based upon the label, right? So do you recommend any products over another, or just kind of identify what is in the drinks? So
I actually use LMNT, which is I think Louisiana, Lima, November, Tango. There you go. So I actually use that. And Andrew Huberman from Human Labs, he actually recommends it as well. So there's no sugar, and it's basically everything you need, nothing you don't.
Perfect.
Wow.
So I use that one. It's not it can be a little bit pricey outside of America. So if you are listening from overseas and that isn't available for you, just look for something which doesn't have a lot of sugar. And you can actually make your own by using some sort of powdered drink, and you can actually add your own salt and things like that. So you can actually do that, because one of the things that I also go into is when you drink too much water and you lose all your all the minerals and essential electrolytes out of your body. The other thing which is in the book is all about hygiene.
You have a little bit of that on your website as well. And I was quite fascinated because it's, leave no trail and leave no trace. But going through the hygiene, I was like,
I don't know whether or not you've read my toileting blog.
I did.
I don't hold back, do I?
I know. But it's very informative, and I found it quite interesting. So, yes.
Yeah. I know. And that's the whole thing is, people, throw around these things like FUD, which, if you're a listener, it's a female urinary device, which allows you to pee standing up.
I saw that. I never, you knew about that?
No, I've heard of it.
Okay, I've never heard of that before. So I was just like, oh my goodness, and you showed a picture of it. Yeah.
So these are not just good for, if you are hiking, but also if you're going to a developing country and, and the toilets are unsanitary. And
Right.
so they're actually quite good. And my friend, who's an engineer in Antarctica, all the women down there use them. So,
really? Okay.
And they used to be made of brass. So
wow.
can you imagine using a brass FUD down in Antarctica? It would be freezing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh. Wow. Belinda, can you tell us a little bit about your journey? Because from what I understand, you really became an avid hiker later in your adult years. What took you there?
So I used to hike quite a lot when I was younger, probably in my 20s, but even from high school. From New Zealand, it's lots of people did. Lots of people do anyway. I mean, when you're on the hiking trail in New Zealand, you'll often see families doing hikes. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon. And, and you see these, little kids with their backpacks, chasing after their parents and jumping over creeks. And the parents are just going normal speed. And we're keeping up, kids.
Oh, I love that.
But it was basically 2020, so it was right on that COVID time. And COVID means a lot of different things to, it means different things to a lot of people.
Right.
And for me, it was, okay, time to have a good, hard, long look at myself. So I looked in the mirror and I saw bloated. I saw unfit. I saw overweight. I saw unhappy. And I also saw overwhelmed, and none of this was because of COVID. It was, I was actually having a great time. I was surrounded by all of my kids. We'd done a huge grocery shop. I mean, Australia was pretty strict in our lockdown.
Right.
So we literally had to, it was like we were prepping.
Right.
And so I took one long look at myself in the mirror and I just thought, where's that spark gone? Where has that person gone? Where did she go? And I kind of feel that a lot of women, especially when they get to that over the 55 mark, 50's kind of, when you're 50, I think you're kind of, you've still got a little bit of that 40s there,
right. Still... 50's the new 40, right? Yeah, and that's what I was, yeah.
But once you get to 55, a lot of us are over the menopause. Yeah. Menopause may not have been kind. Everything has gone south, unless we've been doing our face yoga every single day. But everything seems to go south, and that can be your libido, your face, your boobs,
everything.
Your skin,
yes.
What is that?
Yes. And I have thin skin, so I'm at the stage already where I bruise very easily. If I nick my arm on anything, I have bruises, and you can't see them, but I'm referencing them now because I do have them. But yes, everything. And I think it does something to you mentally as well when all of this is happening to you. And like you said, to me, it was also the 55, plus, and it seems like it's such a progressive downhill slide. Like it's like boom, 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 but everything seems to go.
And it hits you, it hits you. It's one day everything's fine. And the next day it's like, oh dear. And the other thing is when you see people your own age and you look at them and you go, oh, we all look a little bit older. And that's a scary thing. So, and I think sometimes, as women, we want to feel beautiful. We want to feel adored. We want to feel
not invisible, right? Not invisible, right? I think that you feel invisible after 55, especially. Like you nailed it on the head to me. 50, you're still in your mindset and you're like, okay, 50 is the new 40. I don't feel that bad. Life is great. But after 55, I feel somewhat invisible.
Exactly. And it's like, and even if you do sort of, and I'm not saying I flirt with people, but you kind of feel like, ew, I shouldn't be doing that. And you're not flirting with them on a sexual way. You're flirting with them just to have fun.
Playful, yeah.
It's just like, oh no, that was wrong. So it is a funny time of your life, and I really feel for women, and you don't have to be single. You can still be married, and you can feel that you can feel alone. You can feel completely alone, especially if your kids have moved away, or if your kids are not considerate to you as a person.
Right.
And I know that some women, they've been the best mother ever, and it's just maybe society or something, and suddenly, that little boy that they held their hand with years and years ago is no longer wanting anything to do with them, and that really breaks my heart. So a lot of this, when I reflected back, I thought about all the other women who were in my position, and at that day that I looked in the mirror, and my heart really went out to them. It really did. I just thought, right, okay, well, I had started to hike, and I want to encourage women, and I'm not encouraging women to multi-day hike. I'm encouraging women to start to love themselves and start to appreciate themselves. And some of that might be by going outside your comfort zone and giving yourself a major high five when you do things that you never thought that you could.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it helps you, it helps your confidence when you find things that you actually didn't think you would enjoy. And like you said, things that you didn't realize you could do, I think it really helps. And I think once you start mentally to feel better about yourself, it starts to show physically.
Yeah. And I also think too, with exercising, you are building your endorphins, which also increases your happiness. So for me, I'm not an avid hiker. I would have to start slow, like around the cul-de-sac, and then maybe around the block before I ventured out to even a day hike. But But I think that I'm so inspired by you. And like I said, I feel that there's a lot of similarities, just with women and who we are and what we represent. And really was excited to hear more about your story and what you were doing. What is your next hike? What is your next adventure?
Okay, so I had a little bit of an Achilles tendon issue.
Oh no!
So I am booked to go on the Arctic Circle Trail in Greenland.
Wow!
So I am fingers crossed, toes crossed, praying, whatever, that everything is going to work out. I'm going to be able to get on that track in just over 2 weeks. So
oh my goodness!
Yeah, I know, and that is. It's supposedly the most remote hike worldwide. So yeah, and it's going to go for 8 to 9 days. You've got to take 10 days of food just in case you have to hunker down somewhere.
Of course.
So this is going to be interesting.
That's exciting, and you're going to have to touch base with us and send us some pictures that we can post online about your journey.
I know.
Now, do you go with other groups of people, I'm assuming, and perhaps not by yourself, or how does that work? If somebody wants to get involved in hiking and, live more of the lifestyle that you have set for yourself, how would you recommend that one go about it?
Okay, so look, um, because I'm going to start right from the very beginning.
Okay.
Hiking has so many benefits, and one of the benefits is, as opposed to walking around the block, is that all the the differences in terrain. You're using so many different muscles in your whole body. You're using your core. And you're also using your mind. You're looking to where you're going to step next.
Right.
You're thinking about how hydrated you are. You're watching the weather. It really is almost like a mini endurance sport. So you can start off with very easy trails, and it's just so important to be able to get out into nature. And even if you live in the middle of the city, go and walk around a park. Instead of walking, I know that you're supposed to keep to the concrete footpaths, but try and walk on the grass.
Yes.
Try and walk throughout the, try and walk
In
on
nature.
a trail.
Yeah, somewhere in nature.
Now, when it comes to doing multi-day hikes, I actually go by myself. And I carry everything in my backpack, and I've got lists on my website of what I take. But there are so many tour groups that that cater for these multi-day hikes, and they will carry your luggage for you, so you only need a day pack, and you just need to take a water bottle and your raincoat. They'll give you a list of things that you need to take.
Right.
So you need to take. So it's kind of like an assisted walk.
Okay.
And for most of the walks worldwide, most of the multi-day hikes, that option is available. So I'm going to start putting that on all of my hikes, where people can do this system where they don't have to carry their big day pack, or they don't even have to sleep out in the rough. They can, which is kind of exciting though. It is exciting.
Yeah.
But you might just like a hotel bed. You might like a shower every night. You might like to sit down with a meal of the knife and a fork and all that.
You're talking my language now.
Yeah. Go you. That's great.
Yeah.
But what I can say is the health benefits of being outside, and when you're actually looking out over a vista, it actually does something to
your soul, probably,
to your body. And so I've got some information on that in my book as well.
Okay.
And the other thing about hiking is normally you are up at daylight and you're going to sleep at sunset.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it really is readjusting your circadian rhythms. It really is. And so what I say to somebody who's just starting out doing something like this, take a look at my website, have a look at the About Me, and see the transformation of someone who was rather overweight to someone who's like fit and healthy and happy, and you don't have to do the full-on multi-day hikes that I do. Join a meetup group or a Facebook group in your area, and go on day hikes with other people, and you can learn from these other people. Like, okay, this might be your very first hike. You can say, what's in your pack? What do you carry in your day pack?
Absolutely.
Great advice.
And
Yes.
because I've found that hikers are so good at teaching each other, what they're using, how, all these sorts of things. And if anyone's worried about going to the toilet on the track, on my blog, I have all the information.
Very detailed. Or for those that still, have their period, you have a lot of information for that, and suggestive, different products to use. So, I found it very, very educational and informative. But at first I was like, and it starts with a picture of a roll of toilet paper. And it's like, well, you don't bring that. And I'm like, That's just amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I think the whole thing is that overcoming a fear of doing something on your own as well.
Right.
And so that's why I say, when you're starting out, join a Facebook group or a meetup group, which is how I started. And you will find yourself with a lot of like-minded people.
A community,
who will basically help take you by the hand and show you the ropes.
Right.
And that's magic.
That's amazing.
Awesome. Well, Belinda, we really appreciate you being on our show today. Such a privilege to have you here. And we're serious about following up with us and letting us know how your walk or hike goes in Greenland. And yeah, keep us posted on that.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Thanks, ladies. This is beautiful to spend time with you today on the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
And that just about wraps it up for today. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk Midlife Crisis. Embrace the change.
Join the conversation on our website at letstalkmidlifecrisis.com or our Facebook or Instagram and YouTube channels. We'd love to hear from you guys.